We're going to show you how to adjust the roller nip on a GFP model. And this will go from anywhere from a 220 to 230 to a 355, which is what we have here, a 363, a 563, and also an 865, any of those machines. And there's two processes I will show you. One for if you have a new model that comes in, and we always advise that if you're setting up a new model to check your roller nip and make an adjustment, because in shipping it could get jostled a little bit maybe, and just in vibration, and the roller could be off, and you could get, it's about getting right from the beginning. So in that process, the easiest thing to do is no power. You don't need any power of the machine. Is just bring your roller down until you come down on a new machine, and just see where the roller, the end of the roller is where the moment they touch. And we're just going to close it slowly, and the minute the light goes away on the end, we will compare it to the other side here. And if we have no light here and light on this side, then we need to adjust this side down. If we have closed here and a little bit of light here, we'll adjust this side up. And we will do it all on this side, the left side of the machine, the non-hand wheel side, which we will get to the process and how to do that in a second. It's a 10-minute process, very simple to do. And then also in the second step, we're going to show you in a second right here, is if I had a machine that's, if I've had a machine for a little bit and it's been a few years and it starts tracking left or right, the best way to adjust that would be also to add, take a sheet of like scrap vinyl, just 54 inches. And I like to, on those machines, anything that's been run a little bit, is put the piece of vinyl between the rollers and then come down on that piece of vinyl. Close the rollers like you normally would if you're running a job, and then do your check here. So we can see here. So we're probably going to see possibly a little more light because with the material in the machine. And we can look the other side. So right now we have light on both sides. If we had light on one, we kind of can compare it. If it's hard to tell based on the light, the amount of light, you could always, we're not running a job, so we're not worried about over pressurizing. We can come down a little more and see, check it again, and then just see if one side actually closes before the other here. So on this one, we got, if we close a little more, we got closed here, and we got just a little bit of light here. So we can make our adjustment there with our on our side. So now that we have our left side cover off our machine, we can make our adjustment. And what we're going to do is we're going to disengage these two gears, our vertical gear and a horizontal gear. By doing that, we were allowed to move this left side of the machine, the roller on the left side, without moving the right side, and get them even up. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our 5mm wrench, and we're just going to, without letting these gears turn, we're going to kind of hold them in place. We're going to remove this bolt in the middle, and that's just going to take out this cover and a washer behind it. Then we're going to take our 3mm Allen wrench and just loosen this screw here. By loosening this screw, we'll be able to slide it away. We can take the whole gear off if we want, but we don't need to. We're just going to loosen it, a couple turns, and then disengage it with our gear. Just remember that we have a keyway here, and we don't want to, if we take this whole gear off, we don't want to lose that keyway on here. So once we do that, we can double check, take a look. Yes, our gears are separated. So now we have the ability to turn this gear by hand, either by bringing it down. If you need to bring this side down, we're going to move it counterclockwise towards the front of the machine. If we need to open the roller up on this side to match the other side, we'll go clockwise and towards the back of the machine. If you have a situation where you're just a new machine and you're doing without, you don't have to need to put the material in, you're doing without material between the rollers, the piece of vinyl, then you should be able to spin this gear by hand and make that adjustment. So when we have it under load with material in there, it's a little tougher to turn. So I grab just like a rag, and then just so we don't dig in the teeth of the gears, and just with the rag, I will just make that adjustment and just turn it just slightly. I'm watching my side here to the moment the light goes away. So I'll just watch it closely till the light goes away, and then that's it here. So we've matched them even. I'll come back to the here, and now I'm going to engage my gear back, watching my key, making sure that goes in. I'll make sure that's in. We don't want to push this too hard into and mesh the gears too hard. If we do that, we know, because when we go up and down with our hand wheel, we hear like a grinding noise, like you're driving over like a lot of gravel. If you hear that, all you have to do is come back to the side, loosen the screw again, just back it back out, put it back in, not as tight, and then tighten it in. So we're going to tighten the screw, making sure the keyway is in there and not slid in. And once we got that screw tight, then we're not going to put our cover and our washer back on yet, because what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the other side, and we're just going to go up and down with the roller. So now that we've made our adjustment, what I like to do is always go up with the roller once, just you don't have to go all the way up, just to separate the rollers, and then come back down and go to that same spot, close the roller, give it a little bit more, and just check it again. So we have a little bit of light here. We'll close till we get rid of the light, and then we'll check our other side here, and we have no light, so our adjustment was made. And then I always just go back a little bit till it just gets a little bit of light here, and then look at my other side and just see that we got that little bit of light on the other side, so we know we're right on, which we are. You might not get it on the first try. If you don't, just all you have to do is go back, separate your gears, and just make a little fine-tune adjustment and then do the same thing. It might take a couple times, but you want to definitely get it right before you run your material. And finally, now that we have our adjustment made, we're going to just put our, don't forget to put our, sometimes put our washer back on, and our cover and the bolt. And like that. Now that we've made our adjustment we put a sheet of vinyl in, brought the rollers down, made our adjustment, the best way is to test it out by running something. You could run a job if you had one there ready to go and test it out if you felt confident in your work. But I like to take a roll of old vinyl, this is an old roll of adhesive back vinyl, 54-inch wide, and load it up onto our bottom supply shaft. The good reason why I like the adhesive back vinyl is probably something that has a flush ends. So when it runs through, we have a better idea of how it's tracking left to right, if it's still tracking on our finished product. You could use a release liner that you use, but it's also, it's just for the tracking purpose, it's good to have something that you can get that isn't telescoped, that you can get flush on the ends so you can see how it winds up on the back. Craft paper is a little thin, you could use that, but it's probably a little thin, so it might not be as good a test as adhesive back vinyl. So if you have a roll, if you're working and you're gonna throw an old roll out, not a bad idea to hold on to it, put it aside, so if you ever need to do this, you have a roll that you're not wasting good material to make sure everything runs well. And we don't need to put a laminate on, we're just gonna run a vinyl through. We're not gonna laminate, we're just gonna run the vinyl to get this test. Also, if you're a tech out there, if you have rolls around that you're gonna throw out overstock or something, not a bad idea to keep a couple. So if you have to go out to a customer and do this adjustment, it's there, and you can take that instead of having to find material at the customer to make sure. So we have it around here, around the bottom idler, up through the rollers, tight to the roll, and then I attached it to the back take up on the rear. And what I'm gonna do is, I like to, since I have with my roller separated, I'll start it and just hit the run, let it pull a second to make sure it is tight, and then I'll come down, close my roller, and give it a little more there on the hand wheel, just a touch more like we say. And then I'll just watch, and the key's gonna be how it looks running through. We want it to stay tight to the roll. If we start to see it pocket and gap a little bit and come off the roll, then we know that side's a side that doesn't have as much pressure compared to the other. So if this side gets loose, starts to get loose coming around that roll, we know we don't have enough pressure on this side. We would go to stop it, do our adjustment again, add a little pressure on this side. If it's this side that gets pocketed, it starts to lift on the roll, then we would go to our adjustment and lift We always do it from the left side, remember. We would lift that side and take less pressure off on our left side. But we're looking good here, so we would run it. And I would say run a few. Speed doesn't matter if you want to speed it up to get a better run. We just want to run it a little bit to make sure we feel comfortable. And finally, we can go to the back of the machine, watch how it's running. We can watch how it's rolling up on the back. If it's tracking one side, then we'll make our adjustment. If we seem to be pulling this way and going this way, we'll need to add a little more pressure on this side. If we're going this way, then we'll take a little bit off of this side because we got too much pressure and it's pulling. But once we can let it run a few times, and if it stays consistent for a little bit, then we know we're in good shape.